All right, so let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Let's talk negotiation.
Okay.
You know that thing we all do
Uh-huh.
pretty much every day?
Yeah.
Whether it's for like a raise,
Right.
a deadline, or even just
Oh, yeah.
like deciding where to eat.
Totally.
We are taking a deep dive today
Okay.
into how to become a negotiation ninja,
I love it.
using some incredible insights from
Yeah.
Stanislav Kondrashov's
Okay.
course on effective negotiation strategies.
That's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
what's so fascinating to me is most people don't even realize that they're negotiating
Right.
all the time.
It's constant.
Yeah. And Stanislav Kondrashov really breaks it down in a way that makes you see
Yeah.
how essential these skills are in almost every aspect of our lives.
Totally. And the material lays out a really clear roadmap,
Okay.
breaking negotiation down into 5 stages.
Okay.
Preparation, discussion, bargaining,
Mm-hmm.
agreement, and follow-up.
Right. Yeah.
I was really struck by how much emphasis Kondrashov puts on that first stage.
Yeah.
Preparation.
Preparation is key.
Why is that so crucial?
You know, if we connect this to a bigger picture,
Okay.
think of preparation like laying the foundation for a house.
Okay.
If you rush it or you skip steps,
Yeah.
you might end up with something that can't withstand any pressure.
Right.
Thorough preparation, like Kondrashov outlines,
Mm-hmm.
really helps you to understand your goals,
Yeah.
research your counterpart,
Uh-huh.
anticipate those potential roadblocks, and even plan your concessions.
So it's about going in with a game plan instead of just winging it.
Precisely. And speaking of game plans,
Okay.
Kondrashov actually provides some specific tactics
Okay.
that I think might surprise you.
All right.
For example, he suggests creating a negotiation one sheet
Yep.
where you summarize your goals,
Mhm.
your key talking points,
Yeah.
and your potential compromises.
Okay.
It's a great way to stay focused and organized
Yeah.
during those really like heat of the moment, high pressure moments.
Yeah, that's a fantastic tip. It's like having a cheat sheet for a test, but for a high stakes conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this kind of preparation can help you avoid those common pitfalls
Yeah.
like getting flustered
Uh-huh.
or agreeing to something that you'll later regret.
Now, one thing that really stood out to me in Kondrashov's materials
Yeah.
was the section on language
Okay.
and how specific phrases
Right.
can really make or break a deal.
Absolutely. It's like having a secret code
Oh,
that unlocks better communication
Okay.
and just leads to smoother negotiations.
right.
For example, Kondrashov suggests replacing a flat out no
Okay.
with phrases like, I understand your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but I have some concerns about it.
Yeah.
It shows that you're listening
Yeah.
while still holding your ground.
So it's a way of disagreeing without being disagreeable.
Precisely. And this kind of nuanced language can really help you build rapport
Yeah.
and keep that conversation moving in a positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
Kondrashov also highlights phrases like,
Yes.
if you're willing to do X, then we could consider Y.
Right.
That type of if-then language
Yeah.
really creates a collaborative atmosphere,
Yeah.
and it encourages compromise.
It's like building a bridge instead of digging a trench.
Exactly.
Now, Kondrashov also talks a lot about
Yes.
understanding your counterpart's communication style.
Absolutely.
Why is that so important?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
We all communicate differently,
Mm-hmm.
and those differences can be amplified in
Yeah.
a negotiation.
Okay.
Some people are very direct,
Right.
while others are more indirect.
Yeah.
Some are very emotional,
Uh-huh.
while others are more logical.
Right.
Kondrashov stresses the importance of adapting your approach
Okay.
based on the person that you're dealing with.
So it's about reading the room
Yes,
and adjusting your style accordingly.
absolutely.
Can you give us an example of how this might play out
Sure.
in a real world negotiation?
Absolutely. Kondrashov gives a fascinating example
Right.
involving a negotiation
Right.
between an American company and a Japanese company.
Okay.
The American team, known for their very direct communication style,
Right.
was initially really frustrated by the Japanese team's indirectness
Uh-huh.
and perceived reluctance to say no directly.
Oh, I can see how that could lead to some misunderstandings.
Exactly. But by understanding the cultural context
Hmm.
and adapting their approach,
Yeah.
the American team was able to build trust
Okay.
and ultimately reach a mutually beneficial agreement.
That's a great example of how cultural awareness can be a game changer
Yes.
in negotiations.
Yes, it is.
Now, Kondrashov also talks about specific tactics
Mhm.
for handling those tricky situations where a negotiation gets tense.
Absolutely. And one technique that really stands out is the power of silence.
Oh.
Kondrashov suggests that when tensions rise,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the best thing to do is just pause,
Okay.
take a deep breath,
Yeah.
and allow the other person to speak first.
So it's about resisting the urge to react immediately and instead creating space for de-escalation.
Precisely. And this can be especially effective
Okay.
when you're dealing with someone who's very emotional. By remaining calm and composed,
Yeah.
you can really help to lower the temperature of the conversation
Right.
and prevent things from spiraling out of control.
This is some seriously valuable stuff.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling more equipped
Good.
to handle those high-pressure negotiation moments.
I love it.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground in this first segment,
We have.
from the importance of preparation
Yeah.
to the nuances of language
Uh-huh.
and the art of de-escalation.
Absolutely.
What's one key takeaway
Okay.
that you want our listeners to remember
Sure.
from this deep dive so far?
I would say the most important thing is to remember that negotiation is a skill,
Okay.
not a talent.
Okay.
It's something that you can learn and improve upon with practice.
That's incredibly encouraging.
It is.
We'll be right back with more insights from Stanislav Kondrashov's work on effective negotiation strategies.
Looking forward to it. Welcome back.
You know, one thing that's really resonating with me
Yeah.
is Kondrashov's emphasis on
Okay.
viewing negotiation as a collaborative process
Mm-hmm.
rather than a battle.
Right.
Like, it's not about,
Yeah.
I win, you lose. It's
Oh,
about,
exactly.
let's work together.
Absolutely. Kondrashov consistently highlights the importance of finding mutually beneficial solutions
Right.
where both parties feel like they've gained something valuable.
Yeah.
It's not about winners and losers.
Yeah.
It's about creating those win-win scenarios.
That's such a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off of
Right.
feeling like you have to dominate
Exactly.
the other side.
And Kondrashov actually suggests
Sorry.
starting every negotiation
Mhm.
by identifying that common ground.
Right.
What shared interests or goals
Mhm.
can you agree on right off the bat? Starting from a place of agreement
Yeah.
can set a more positive and productive tone
Right.
for the entire negotiation.
It's like building a foundation of trust
Exactly.
before you even start constructing the rest of the deal.
Yes. And
Yeah.
speaking of, constructing deals and thinking outside the box,
Okay.
let's talk about a concept that Kondrashov calls expanding the pie.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Right.
How does expanding the pie work?
So imagine you're negotiating with a vendor
Okay.
and they're really just stuck on a price
Mhm.
that's a bit higher
Okay.
than what you would like.
Yeah.
Instead of just haggling over that price,
Yeah.
Kondrashov suggests brainstorming ways to add value to the deal
Okay.
that might justify that higher cost.
So you're not just arguing about the existing slice of pie. You're trying to make the whole pie bigger.
Exactly. For example,
Okay.
you might ask the vendor if they would be willing to include additional services,
Good.
maybe training or an extended warranty coverage,
Right.
in exchange for that slightly higher price.
Okay.
So you're finding creative ways to sweeten the deal.
Yeah.
You can often reach an agreement that feels like a win
Right.
for both sides.
This is a game changer.
Yeah.
I love how Kondrashov encourages us to think outside the box
Yeah.
and, explore
Right.
those win-win opportunities.
Absolutely.
Now, what about those situations where, despite our best efforts,
Yeah.
the negotiation hits a roadblock?
Ah, the dreaded impasse.
Right.
Kondrashov doesn't shy away from these challenging moments.
Okay.
He provides some really powerful strategies for breaking those deadlocks
Mhm.
and getting the negotiation back on track.
Okay, give us the inside scoop.
Okay.
What are some of his top tips
Mhm.
for navigating these tricky situations?
One technique that Kondrashov highlights
Okay.
is called reframing.
Okay.
This involves shifting the focus of the conversation from the point of disagreement
Right.
to the underlying interests and needs
Okay.
of each party.
So instead of arguing about the what, you're exploring the why.
Exactly.
Okay.
Kondrashov provides a great example
That's right.
involving two siblings
Right.
arguing over who gets to use the family car
Okay.
on a particular day.
Right.
Instead of getting bogged down in the logistics of who booked it first or who needs it more,
Mhm.
they reframe the conversation by asking each other,
Okay.
why is it so important
Right.
for you to have the car that day?
I can see how that would open up a more
Yeah.
productive dialogue.
Absolutely. By understanding those underlying motivations,
Mm-hmm.
the siblings might discover that one needs the car for a job interview,
Okay.
while the other needs it to take their child to a doctor's appointment.
And suddenly the conversation shifts from a competition to a collaboration.
Exactly. By reframing that situation,
Yeah.
the siblings might realize that they can carpool.
Right.
or find an alternative transportation solution that meets both of their needs.
That's brilliant. It's a reminder that sometimes the solution lies just beneath the surface of the conflict.
It does.
Now, Kondrashov also emphasizes the importance of knowing your BTNA.
Yes, your bait TNA.
Can you remind us what that stands for
Of course.
and why it's so crucial?
Bait TNA stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement.
Okay.
It's essentially your plan B.
Right.
Kondrashov stresses that you should never enter a negotiation
Mm-hmm.
without a clear understanding of your BTNA.
So it's about knowing your walk-away point,
Yes.
your best option if the negotiation falls apart.
Exactly. Having a strong BTNA
Okay.
gives you leverage and confidence.
Right.
If you know that you have other viable options, you're less likely to be pressured into accepting a deal that's not in your best interest.
It's like having a safety net
It is.
that allows you to take more risks
Yeah,
and stand your ground
absolutely.
during the negotiation.
Kondrashov even suggests sharing your BTNA with the other party in some cases,
Okay.
especially if it's strong.
Okay.
This can signal that you're serious
Right.
and that you're not willing to settle for just anything.
That's a bold move,
Hmm?
but I can see how it could shift the power dynamics
Absolutely.
in your favor.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the emotional side of negotiation.
Okay.
Kondrashov acknowledges
Mm-hmm.
that negotiations can get heated
Yes,
and emotions can run high.
absolutely.
What advice does he offer for managing?
Well, one technique that he highlights
Okay.
is called emotional labeling.
Okay.
This involves simply acknowledging the other person's feelings. For example, you might say,
Right.
I understand that you're frustrated with this situation.
So you're not necessarily agreeing with them,
Right.
but you are validating their emotions.
Exactly. Kondrashov explains that by simply acknowledging their feelings,
Mm-hmm.
you can often de-escalate the situation.
Yeah.
It shows that you're listening
Right.
and that you're empathetic to their perspective.
It's like taking the wind out of their sails.
Exactly.
By recognizing their emotions, you're disarming them and creating space
Yes.
for a more rational conversation.
Precisely. Kondrashov also emphasizes the importance
Okay.
of managing your own emotions
Right.
during a negotiation.
Okay.
He suggests taking breaks if needed
Mm-hmm.
to collect yourself
Right.
and regain your composure.
It's a reminder that negotiation is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes,
Sometimes you need to pace yourself
absolutely.
and take time to recharge.
And remember,
Yeah.
even the most skilled negotiators experience setbacks
Right.
and challenges.
Of course.
Kondrashov encourages us to view these moments
Okay.
as learning opportunities
Yeah.
and to constantly refine our approach.
This has been such an insightful deep dive
It has.
into Kondrashov's world of negotiation.
It's been a journey.
We've covered so much ground,
We have.
from reframing and expanding the pie
Yes.
to understanding BATNAs and managing emotions.
So-
Before we wrap up this segment,
Yeah.
what's one key takeaway
Okay.
that you want our listeners to reflect on?
I'd encourage everyone to think about a recent negotiation where you felt really stuck
Mhm.
or frustrated,
Yeah.
now armed with Kondrashov's insights.
Right.
How might you approach that situation differently?
That's a powerful question.
Yeah,
It's an invitation to put these strategies into practice
absolutely.
and see the difference that they can make
Yeah.
in our own lives.
It is.
We'll be back in a moment
All right.
to explore even more
Okay.
of Kondrashov's brilliant insights
Yes.
on the art of negotiation.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been exploring the art of negotiation through the insightful lens of Stanislav Kondrashov's work.
It's been fascinating.
It really has.
Yeah.
One thing that's really stuck with me
Okay.
is Kondrashov's emphasis on
Mhm.
the psychology of negotiation.
Yeah.
It's not just about logic and strategy.
All right.
It's about understanding those emotional dynamics at play.
Absolutely. Kondrashov really delves into the power of persuasion and influence
Okay.
and explores how we can use things like body language,
Mhm.
tone of voice, and even our word choices
Mm-hmm.
to create a more favorable negotiation climate.
It's like having a secret decoder ring
It is.
for human behavior.
It is like a secret weapon.
Can you give us an example
Sure.
of how this psychological approach
Okay.
might play out in a real world negotiation?
Certainly, Kondrashov highlights the power of mirroring
Okay.
as a subtle yet effective persuasion technique.
Okay.
This involves subtly matching
Okay.
your counterpart's body language and a voice,
Uh-huh.
even their word choices.
So you're creating a sense of rapport and connection
Yes.
by kind of reflecting their style back to them.
Exactly. Kondrashov explains that mirroring can subconsciously make the other person feel more comfortable and open to your suggestions.
That's like speaking their language, both literally and figuratively.
Precisely. And this type of subtle influence can really make a big difference
Yeah.
in building that trust
Right.
and moving that negotiation forward.
Okay, now Kondrashov also emphasizes the importance of recognizing and addressing
Yes.
the other person's
Right.
underlying needs and motivations.
Absolutely.
So it's about understanding the why behind their positions,
Yes.
not just focusing on the what.
Precisely, Kondrashov suggests asking those open-ended questions.
Okay.
Like, what's most important to you in this negotiation?
Right.
What are your biggest concerns?
Okay.
So by actively listening
Mhm.
and seeking to understand their perspective,
Yeah.
you can often uncover hidden opportunities
Okay.
for compromise or creative solutions.
It's about turning a potential standoff into a collaborative problem-solving session.
Exactly.
Now, Kondrashov also talks about the importance of managing concessions.
Yes. Concessions.
Could you elaborate on that?
Of course, Kondrashov explains that concessions are inevitable.
In most negotiations.
Right.
However, he cautions against giving them away too easily or too quickly.
So it's about being strategic with your concessions.
Yes.
Not just throwing them on the table as bargaining chips.
Exactly. Kondrashov suggests making small concessions gradually
Okay.
and always tying them to something
Yeah.
you're receiving in return.
It's like a dance where each step forward is met with a step back.
Precisely. And this back and forth exchange helps to create that sense of fairness and reciprocity,
Yeah.
leading to a more balanced and satisfying outcome
Right.
for both parties.
Now, Kondrashov also highlights the power of silence
Oh, yeah.
when it comes to concessions.
Silence is golden.
Sometimes simply pausing
Yeah.
after the other person makes a request
Uh-huh.
can prompt them to offer more.
It can make people uncomfortable.
It's like a silent auction
Yes.
where the highest bidder wins.
Exactly.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
what's one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
About effective negotiation.
I'd say the most important thing
Right.
is to approach negotiation with a mindset
Mhm.
of curiosity and learning.
Okay.
Kondrashov encourages us to see negotiation not as a battle to be won,
Right.
but as an opportunity to connect,
Yeah.
understand, and create those mutually beneficial outcomes.
That's such a powerful perspective.
It is.
It takes the pressure off
Yeah.
and it opens up a world of
Oh,
possibilities.
it does.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of negotiation,
It has.
guided by the brilliant insights of Stanislav Kondrashov.
He's given us so much to think about.
We've explored a wide range of strategies, from the psychological nuances of persuasion to the art of managing concessions.
Absolutely.
And to our listeners, remember,
Yes.
with the right knowledge and a willingness to learn,
Uh-huh.
you can become a master negotiator in all areas of your life.
You can.
Until next time, keep those negotiation skills sharp.